Most people first met Steve Irwin as the brave wildlife guy wrestling crocodiles on TV. But behind the scenes, he was really just a dad raising two kids, Bindi and Robert, with his wife Terry. His fame started in 1996 when his show gave people a look into life at Australia Zoo. He mixed saving animals with pure excitement the world hadn't seen before. As the cameras rolled, his family grew too. Bindi arrived in 1998, Robert in 2003. And suddenly, Steve wasn't just teaching the world about animals. He was teaching his kids how to care for them. That's what made his death in 2006 feel so unreal. While filming near the Great Barrier Reef, a tragic accident with a stingray turned deadly. It wasn't being careless or drama, just a terrible mix of timing, angle, and instinct. News of his passing spread across the world fast, and the reaction was huge. In Australia, people felt sad, like they'd lost a family member. Abroad, fans gathered in bars, online spaces, and public memorials, trying to understand how someone so full of life could be gone so suddenly. What followed wasn't just sadness, though. It was thinking back. Even those who once criticized Steve had to admit his love for saving animals was real and it worked. He made people care. And now, years later, that work hasn't stopped. Bindi and Robert, alongside Terry and Chandler, have stepped fully into that mission, running Australia Zoo and carrying the message forward. Steve always said he didn't care about being remembered, only about what he stood for. And in that way, he's still with us in the animals he protected, the lives he inspired, and the two kids who carry on his work. So let's check out what Bindi and Robert are up to today. On July 24, 1998, Steve and Terry Irwin welcomed their first child, Bindi Sue Irwin. From that moment, Steve was completely in love. He talked openly about how emotional being a father made him, how he carried her photo into the field and cried just looking at it. He raised her the way he lived, with open hands, open heart, and no wall between family life and wildlife life. If he was climbing trees, handling crocodiles, or tracking animals, Bindi was right there with him. Saving animals was never something she chose later. It was the world she was born into. From the time she could walk, animals were part of her everyday life. Snakes, reptiles, and creatures that most kids feared felt normal to her. By age 4, she was holding a massive python on television without fear and telling a shocked audience that snakes were her favorite animal. It wasn't an act. It was simply who she was. That natural way with wildlife soon became something she shared with the world through her own children's series, Bindi the Jungle Girl, where she taught young viewers about animals and saving them with the same joy and curiosity her father made famous. The show became a hit around the world, and even earned her a Daytime Emmy, a rare thing for someone so young. Then, in 2006, everything changed. Steve Irwin's sudden death shocked the world and broke his family's hearts. Terry later shared that Steve had always believed his life would be short, a detail that only made the loss hurt more. Bindi was just 8 years old. Yet she stood before thousands at the Australia Zoo Memorial and gave a speech filled with courage and promise. She spoke not just about her father, but about continuing his mission, protecting wildlife and keeping his passion alive. In that moment, the world saw not just a sad child, but the next person to carry a legacy. As she grew older, Bindi continued to honor that promise. She tried acting, appearing in family films and television shows, learning the craft with the same hard work she brought to everything else. But fame was never the goal. Purpose was. That became especially clear in 2015 when she joined Dancing with the Stars. Week after week, she danced not just to win, but to honor her father. She spoke about how Steve used to cry watching her dance as a little girl at the zoo, and how every step she took was for him. She won the season, but more importantly, she reminded millions of the message behind her family's work. As Bindi grew older, she slowly began building a life that felt like her own. One of the most important parts of that life became her relationship with Chandler Powell. Their love story started in a simple, almost old-fashioned way, when Chandler visited Australia Zoo and met Bindi while she was giving tours. He did not rush anything. Instead, he went home, asked his brother to reach out first, then even wrote to Terry to ask permission to date her daughter. It was gentle, respectful, and honest, and it worked. Over time, their relationship became a place of comfort for Bindi. In 2019, Chandler proposed, and in 2020, they married at Australia Zoo. The wedding itself did not go as planned. The pandemic changed everything, and photographers in helicopters messed up the ceremony and scared the animals, forcing the couple to change locations at the last minute. But even through the chaos, the meaning of the day stayed the same. They were building a family together, and that mattered more than perfection. Not long after, they shared that they were expecting their first child. When their daughter Grace was born in March 2021, on their wedding anniversary, it felt like a full-circle moment. Her name had deep meaning, honoring family history and her grandfather's wildlife warrior work. Grace became a living bridge between the past and the future, carrying Steve's spirit forward in a new generation. Being a mother brought joy, but it also brought thinking. Bindi became more open about mental health, especially after stepping back from social media in 2021 to focus on her emotional well-being and her family. She spoke gently but firmly about anxiety, depression, and how important it is to surround yourself with people who bring light. She reminded others that pain is real, even when it is invisible, and that everyone deserves kindness. That message became even more personal as Bindi revealed the health battle she had been fighting quietly for nearly a decade. For years she lived with constant pain, tiredness, and nausea. While doctors struggled to find the cause, she was tested for everything imaginable. She was told it might be stress, hormones, or nothing at all. Over time, she began to doubt herself, wondering if the pain was somehow her fault. Everything changed in 2022 when the pain became unbearable, and she was finally told she had endometriosis after surgery. Doctors found dozens of spots and a cyst that explained years of suffering. The relief was emotional as much as physical. For the first time, she had proof. She was not weak. She was not imagining it. Her body had been fighting a real disease all along. Recovery was slow but life-changing. Simple things like walking, waking up without nausea, or holding her daughter without pain began to feel amazing. She described it as being given a second chance at life. The Irwin family became a team of 4 at the very end of 2003, when Robert Clarence Irwin was born. Steve Irwin was completely overwhelmed in the best way. He once said that the moment Robert arrived felt exactly like the moment Bindi was born. A sudden, crystal-clear sense of purpose. This was why he felt he had been put on Earth. Robert was named after his grandfather, Bob Irwin, the quiet foundation of the entire Irwin family story. Bob had started life as a plumber before following his gut into wildlife saving, eventually becoming a respected animal expert and the founder of what would become Australia Zoo.